Hi everyone, welcome to SRK English Academy. The Touch Sparsha. It's a short story written by Abburi Chayadevi, and this short story is translated into English by Jaysshree Mohanraj. So let's begin the story. When I arrived, I found father lying out on the string cot, facing the wall. I had left my slippers outside on the threshold, so my footsteps didn't give away my presence. I went right up to the cot and asked, "Are you asleep?" "Who is it?" he asked as he turned on his side. "It's I replied. "Come, sit here," he said, continuing to lie stretched out. When he heard me pulling the steel chair and preparing to sit down, he asked, "Why do you want to sit so far away? Come and sit close to me." He sat up to make space for me, patting the place on the cot next to him. I sat on the edge of the cot, groping. Father patted me on my back. Then he felt the place next to him on the cot and said, "Sit comfortably, Amma." I shifted a little, making myself comfortable. He groped the air in front of him. He gripped my hand, held it in both his, and said, "I have been looking forward to your visit. Is everyone all right?" "Yes," I said softly. He didn't say anything else and silently stroked my hand. Once, as a teenager, we had to go somewhere in a rickshaw. Though the rickshaw was spacious, I sat huddled at the far end. "Sit properly, Amma. We'll fall off," the father had said. I had hesitated and moved just an inch closer to him. From the time I learnt my first letters of the alphabet, father had kept me at a distance in the name of discipline and because of Muddy, his orthodox way of life. I never had the courage to touch him. I had always felt that he was in a state of ritual purity. I was used to slipping into my cocoon. So how could I ever think of sitting close to him in the rickshaw? Our bodies touching? When children return from school, if you embrace them lovingly and casually question them, they open up and chirp like happy birds. Instead, if they are greeted harshly at the threshold with, "How much did you score in maths?" or "Have you brought your report card?" they die of fright. I died many such deaths over some 20 years. I still haven't got over the diffidence they created. Father is over 80 now, past the age of recovering his sight, even if his eyes were to be opened, operated upon. Though he is otherwise healthy, his poor eyesight has made him weak. He has spent the last 2 years in bed. My husband and I had come to town on hearing that my mother-in-law was not well. To spend time with her, I managed to visit my parents once in a while as they live in the same town. On such visits, I spend about half an hour chatting with father. To sit close to father is to revive a faint memory of childhood. When he took my hand into his and stroked it with love, the longing I had felt as a child for such a touch flooded my inner being, and tears welled in my eyes. I choked. I couldn't speak. Would he understand that I had once longed for his loving touch? Perhaps all the love and affection that had flowed between us in letters evaporated at his sharp, intense look whenever we came face to face. Even in early childhood, I used to avoid him to escape his piercing glances that had hurt like scorching sun rays. Now, though I knew that they had been extinguished, why was I still unable to feel free with him? The first time I visited him in his illness, I noticed bugs on the cot. I had picked up a couple of them and silently crushed them underfoot. Later, my husband noticed a bug on our bed and had been upset. I told him that it had probably crept into my clothes when I had sat on my father's bed. As I was leaving that day to visit my father, my husband cautioned me not to sit on my father's bed, but to pull up a chair and sit a little away. As I pulled my chair away, father asked me to sit closer to him. How could I not? Was not happy until I was almost leaning against him and had his hands in mine. Father had longed for sons all his life, but was now left with only his daughters. At the end of his life, he had lost his grown son and the perpetuator of his name. Perhaps that is what destiny means. When my brother died, I had hesitated to face my father. Some unknown feeling of guilt had held me back. I had felt like taking him in my arms and reassuring him, saying, "Don't worry, I am here." But I hesitated even to touch him. That's how I had been raised. After I chatted with him for a while, he asked me to clip his nails. Asking mother to do it would be as useless as the mortar weeping on the shoulder of the drum. His brother was not alive to do it, nor were his children around. Not that he couldn't ask my sister-in-law, but perhaps he wanted me to do something for him. I was elated and did the job carefully. Perhaps father was feeling depressed. He stroked my hand and said, "It would be so nice if you moved into this town. I could stay with you." I looked at him helplessly, a look he couldn't see. I couldn't reassure him with words either. Father didn't speak again and was silent as he stroked my hand. At that moment, my education, my job, and everything else appeared vain and superficial. I sat for a while before leaving. As I returned in the rickshaw, father's tender touch haunted me. Tears welled in my eyes and blurred my view of the road. Thank you for listening to the audio. Thank you very much.